In the future, people's behaviors will become tokenized debt instruments. I believe that this will be reframed as using money for good tied to the Sustainable Development Goals. I just want to revisit this idea in looking at this flower currency project from 2005-2006 that was being advanced by Ian Grigg, the developer of Ricardian contracts, smart contracts that will be tied to legally enacted debt securities of alternative currencies, maybe even complementary or community currencies. The flower aspect is supposed to cover this over. But I think that it's actually linked to programmable money, universal basic income, and the use of cybernetic social systems, community-based systems to gather data for swarm intelligence to train AI with machine learning. So I really want you to pay attention to the fact that he holds up this 50 peso note by Jose Maria Morelos, an Mexican independence leader, and that note was later replaced just last year during the pandemic by the axolotl salamander, which is a focus of Julian Huxley's metamorphic investigations.
This currency is not backed at all. What happens with money is that one of the things that we have to do is create a money which is very valuable but is totally useless for any other purpose. This is the theory of money. And gold, for example, is not very useful, but it is very pretty, very beautiful, and therefore it's collectible. It's very, very collectible and quite rare. So what we do here is we find flowers are extremely beautiful. We can put our own effort into them, and that way, because these each take some minutes to produce and some minutes to collect and all those trips into the country, there is a limit to the amount that each person can produce. There's a scarcity involved. We have the beauty, we have the scarcity. If we put these into the hands of people, they become collectible, and therefore they acquire their value, not backed by reserves or currency, but backed by effort, by personal effort.
Okay, so here you have so-called real. They're like the flower currency, and here's real currency. They're 100 euros. 50 Mexican money, yes.
Pesos in Mexico, Banco de Mexico.
Okay.
Here's 100 of the local units.
Okay.
You see how the artists have gone to extreme effort to make these pretty, beautiful,
okay,
to give you respect for the amount of money that these are worth. That's what we're doing here. Our artists are working to create objects of art. These are personal handicrafts, personal works of art. And therefore, if I give you one of these, Johannes, thanks for the interview.
Thank you very much.
That's worth something to you because it's so beautiful.
But what if money were more accessible to everyone? A universal symbol for essential needs, for empowerment and connection.
50
Mexican money, yes.
Pesos in Mexico, Banco de Mexico.
The bill in the video is of Jose Maria Morelos. He was a leader of the Mexican independence movement and a Catholic priest. The town of Morelia was renamed for him. In 2021, the Bank of Mexico introduced a new note that replaced Morelos, and it was the axolotl, which is a salamander that was studied by Aldous Huxley and represents Metamorphosis. Huxley, a eugenicist who later founded UNESCO, also started the biology program at the new Rice University and for a time was a roommate with Norbert Wiener, the cyberneticist. My concern is that we are looking to supplant indigenous cultural practice and replace it with a cybernetic circular economic system towards swarm collective consciousness. In January, I wrote a blog post about the conditional cash transfer system that was piloted in Mexico, I believe as a plan for a larger program of digital programmed currency tied to social policy regulations for education and health. Control of corn is central to this scenario, I believe, as a sacred plant that is in the center of the Mayan cosmology. Corn was targeted for making over by the GMO industry as part of the Green Revolution, and control of access to corn through the tortilla subsidy was part of the conditional cash transfer program.
People, communities, entire countries prospering What if money were all of this? What if money were beautiful?
I'm just going to close with this quote. It's an analysis of The Tempest and the role of Prospero, the magician artist in that play, and the idea of illusion and delusion and theater and life, and what is real and what is not real and how it is all manipulated. Because I've been reading John Fowles, The Magus, and it touches on all of these issues. And I feel like the words are chosen very carefully, just like Maya, the illusion with the virtual reality programming. And thus, the reference here by Cello to prospering might be equated to being under the spell of Prospero, and that if we are being tricked by our enemies to pull them into some delusion that is not to our advantage, that maybe we have the power to recognize the illusion for what it is and to step out of it, to step out of the play that we have been placed in, if we can only get clear enough to see it for what it is.